Hi, I'm Brian Jackson with itbusiness.ca. Today I have Dan Shimmerman from Verisent Software, and he's going to talk to us about venture capital financing. Welcome to itbusiness.ca.
Thank you.
So Dan and his company were able to raise $35 million in the third quarter of this year. That's second only to Facebook in terms of IT companies that were able to raise capital, and that's no small feat considering the tough economy that we had this year. So, Dan, I wonder if you can tell us your story in a nutshell. How did you manage to raise that venture capital?
First off, we're in a very strong market, and I think that by and large the venture capital community looks for a growing, buoyant market. We're in the sales performance management space. We help companies better align their corporate objectives with their sales incentive plans. And over the last few years, we've had a lot of success. We've had consistent results. We've built a great team. We've assembled a terrific roster of Fortune 1000 customers. And I think these are the fundamentals that the venture capitalists look for in a company. They want to make certain that their investment is going into a growing market with a strong team that has a proven product and a strong customer base as well.
You know, this year the economy has been pretty much in the dumps, and all I hear about is how the venture capital opportunities have dried up. I wonder if that deterred you at all from seeking funding?
No, it didn't deter us. We certainly knew we had a task at hand. We put together a roster of a lot of VCs. We didn't limit ourselves to just Canada. So we put together the top tier venture firms in the US as well. And we were pretty tenacious. We had a formal plan of attack, and we executed on that. We had a lot of meetings, we had choice, and we were quite lucky in that we had a number of firms that had expressed interest. And so at the end of it all, we could choose the partner that we found most suited what we wanted to do with our business.
Now, your company has employees around the world, you were saying, but I wonder if having employees in Canada and the US helps you win funding on both sides of the border?
Certainly it adds to the credibility of the company. I think the venture firms look for the capability of the management team. And the fact that we've been successful doing business abroad talks to our capabilities and talks to our ability to execute in different countries and different cultures. But it wasn't necessarily something specific that they required. In fact, we said we're doing quite well overseas. We want to continue to invest in our overseas operations, which is one of the reasons why we want to go out and raise capital. So we actually use that as one of the driving forces behind the raise.
So I was looking at your main investors. They include RBC Venture Partners, there's FTV Capital, as well as Edgestone Capital Partners. And I also saw that those three investors all have spots on your board. Now I wonder, when you're seeking funding, does that mean that you have to be ready to share control of your business?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if anybody is going to write a check for $35 million for any amount, really, they're going to want to have some control over the direction of the business, the strategy of the business. And quite frankly, we're okay with that. We wouldn't expect anything other than that. And we feel pretty fortunate to have, these are smart guys. They bring a lot of value to the table. They bring a lot of strategic thinking. They've seen a lot of different things. So we actually welcome the perspectives, and we don't get too fussed about the control.
So technically, the recession is over now. We've seen that GDP growth is just a little bit above zero, but nobody is certainly saying that the economy is booming by any means. Do you think it's still hard to find venture capital opportunities?
Well, yeah, I agree with you. The recession is far from over, and we've certainly had to work exceedingly hard to deliver the results we've been able to deliver. In terms of the VC market, I'd say it's loosening up a bit. Here in Canada, it remains somewhat challenged, although I've had a few meetings with some of my colleagues here in the community, in the venture community, and they're able to raise the money that they need for their funds. We're seeing more smaller funds pop up. And certainly in the U.S. And abroad, there's lots of money to be had out there, and even in this economic climate.
So how can it be done?
Well, I think you first have to, I might be stating the obvious here, but you have to build a great company. You've got to surround yourself with a really good team. I'm very proud of what we've been able to do, very proud of our entire team. A lot of hard work, a lot of drive and dedication have gone into the company. And I think that you need to have some consistency. But in terms of an approach to the venture firms, they want to see honesty, they want to see transparency. They don't like when you overstate your results or overpromise. They want to see very candid, very frank discussions about what you think you can do and how you're going to do it. And they also want to see an exciting market. Exciting in the sense that it's growing, it's early stage, and it's got lots of potential for upside. I think if you can do all those things, and if you can convey that to a finance guy, then you're going to be fine. Good deals always find good money, and good money finds good deals.
So you've won capital from some traditional sources like banks and investment firms. Those can be pretty intimidating sources for small businesses, especially, to approach. Can you give advice on how to make it a little bit easier?
I can, and the word intimidating is a good one, and I think the first piece of advice I'd give is you have to very quickly overcome that intimidation factor. These are guys that want to park their money in good investments. That's their job. They're looking for that. And for a small business to have a confidence issue in approaching these companies and in presenting their value proposition, it's unfortunate, really. And so I think the first piece of advice I'd give is you got to feel very passionate about what you're doing, and you got to feel confident that you can convey that passion and that value proposition to just about anyone. I mean, we've sat in front of some of the top-tier investment firms in the world, really. It's because we're very proud of what we do, and we're very excited by it. So that would be the first piece of advice I'd give, is overcome that intimidation factor. And the next piece of advice I'd give is ask lots and lots of people. Put a list together, and don't be afraid to go out there and pound on doors and be tenacious about it, because as I said, the job of these investors is to find good investments, and if you're out there asking, you're gonna find a match eventually.
Thank you so much for your time today.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.